My name's Sean. I live in San Diego. I work as a sales director for a biotech company. I go to school on the weekends, so I'm getting my master's in business administration or MBA up at USC in LA. You know, I really enjoy being outside.
What led to you deciding to live in a van?
I just feel like my entire life has been coming down to this one point. No, I'm just kidding. Some buddies and I, when I first moved out to San Diego from New Hampshire, we had always joked about it. We used to call it the van scam because you're kind of scamming society. So we sort of joked a lot about it. You know, my buddy James and I had always talked about it. We used to joke that the house was like the most expensive storage unit in the world. And, you know, we're working 9 to 5 during the days. We come home, sleeping in at night. And then every weekend we were going out, you know, on some adventure, rock climbing or surfing down the Baja, shooting up the 395 into the Sierras for these, you know, kind of epic climbs during the weekend. And so we're in the house, like, literally just to go to bed. And then I saw you for the first time in a couple of years. You had driven out in Sheila at the time, your hatchback. And you were living on the road like a dirtbag. You had just got done rafting the Grand Canyon. You were biking all over the country. And, you know, with the lifestyle that my buddies and I live, we're kind of weekend warriors working 9 to 5, Monday through Friday. And we kind of look up to that lifestyle, that dirtbag lifestyle. We've always, you know, kind of wonder about what that might taste like. You know, it kind of always was in the back of my mind that I'd like to do something like that. And, you know, a couple things happened. I turned 30, so that was kind of a big milestone. Hadn't done it yet. So it's like I'm not getting any younger. And the second big piece of it was we got a 60-day notice to move out of our house. And so what ended up happening, I'm like, man, if I'm going to do this thing. And then all of a sudden on my OfferUp app, the perfect van pops up. I am in a 2014 Ram ProMaster, and the reason I chose this van, one is it's the widest of the vans, I believe. Don't quote me on that. But the ProMaster was able to check all the boxes for me as far as space, still stand up in it, and I could also sleep side to side versus the long way down the van. From the time that I bought the van, I had 40 days to get it livable. And so I think my favorite part about the van build so far has basically been, you know, all my buddies have been super supportive in helping me build it. I've had a ton of people come over or allow me to go to their places where everybody's kind of pitched in and kind of made this thing happen. Friends that have let me use their backyards while I've been living in it, giving me power sources to put tools into. Got a good buddy out in the desert, Hunter, who's an architect who's helped kind of brainstorm a lot of the interior, which has been really neat too. And so, yeah, just all the friends that I owe big thank yous to in helping this thing come together over the last 40 days. I wouldn't have been able to do without them. Oh, Alex, yeah, of course. Yeah, sorry, 2 days, yeah. Well, we talked about that.
So you'd be stoked if we got the ceiling and a shelf in today?
Well, I'd be stoked if we just got the ceiling in today.
All right.
These are like the top 4 questions everybody asks you when you tell them you're moving into a van. It's like the first question is, oh, well, where are you going to go to the bathroom? People have this like, you know, weird anxiety about where your toilet's going to be, which I think is kind of an interesting social experiment, I guess. So for me, living in the city, San Diego actually made it legal to live in your automobile. That was actually one of the things that lined up as I was thinking about the van life. The city passed the law that you could live in your car. I think the really neat thing is I've got like, you know, $1 million oceanfront property every morning. If I want it, I'll just pull right up on the bay or something right off a side road. And, you know, the other morning I parked over there. I woke up and my front window view was the ocean. I mean, people pay millions of dollars for that. Showers, so far that's probably been the easiest I usually wake up around like 6:30, drive over to the gym, get a quick workout in. After I'm done, I'll hit the showers and just be ready for my day. And then as far as the bathroom goes, which is what everybody really wants to know about, I think it's probably no secret that most people are just using their favorite bottle. And then for number two, there are toilets all around us. It's you just gotta have no shame in using them. It's not for everybody. I mean, you've got to give up. Like, I've lived in a lot of different cities. Like in the last 7 years, I've lived in 5 different cities. So for me, it was easy. I didn't have much furniture, and whatever I had, I just sold and got rid of it. And it felt really kind of good and liberating to do that. I got the van for $21,000, and it had a bunch of shelving in it, and I sold all the shelving for about $1,500. I put in so far probably right over $5,000. So total in at like 24.
Time for the van tour.
Welcome to my van, homie. Come on in. I think it's worth mentioning that the van is very much still in the building process. And so what you have here is not the mature product. I think it's just gonna be a living project that I'm constantly adding to, which is really exciting. Well, why don't we start with the fridge, because I just picked this up. It's the 63-quart ARB fridge. So I claim to fame on these. They actually use less draw than a headlamp. I think it was like 1.3 or 2 amps per hour once they're kind of up and running and cool. It's got enough space for me to fit, whatever I'd need for myself for a week, which is awesome. And plus it takes up super minimal power off my battery, which is also great. I don't particularly enjoy cooking that much, and so I've seen people that have built like really big kitchens, counters that take up both sides, and for me, I cook kind of minimalistic kind of meals. I have tea every single morning, and so for me, I just needed space for a sink, which I have, but haven't had the time to cut and do the plumbing for yet. But 12 by 12 sink that's going to go right here, and then also enough space to have a 1-burner stove on this side of the van. The cabinets are made from oak ply. Open up just like this. I've got basically 14 gallons worth of water that I can store here. Eventually I'll have a 5-gallon bucket for a gray water tank over here to the left of them. And so I'll have my sink that runs fresh water out of here through a little marine pump that then goes into the gray water tank that I can empty from there. One of my favorite parts about the van is having this super convenient, really easy 1-burner stove that you can just take out, put up top. You can see it doesn't take up a lot of space on the counter. You unlock the fuel and just fire it up and it goes. Super easy to clean, and then you just store it away right underneath. So that right there is the grand tour of the kitchen. One thing you'll learn as you're living in it is, especially in the mornings, like the less eyes on you, the better, or at night. And so I kind of built in this little homemade curtain here that keeps the light out, keeps people's eyes off me as much as possible, and gives you just a little bit more privacy. Moving on to the lounge area. I have way too many pillows in this van. That's because I just moved out of a house where we had a guest bedroom with a bunch of pillows. And so I said, well, let's not throw them away. I'll keep them as couch cushions. Too many pillows. This is one of my favorite parts of the van because you got a comfortable place to sit down, hang out. You can kind of spread out like this if you want to, if you're working. I've got a bunch of outlets lined up over here, 12-volt USB-C and then USB chargers, as well as various light switches that are going to kind of control different areas of the van's lighting. But probably the neatest part of this bench is the storage options that I get from it. So I haven't even filled it all up yet. There's still space to go, but if you look under here, you've got room for the 3 different soft totes here, a little bit extra room over here that I really haven't decided what I'm gonna do with. I guarantee you I'll find something to put there. I haven't loaded this thing up completely yet with all my gear. I've got access to all my electrical back here. I'm not an electrician, so don't judge my work, but essentially running the electrical off this fuse box here, which then goes down to my battery. And the battery is hooked up to, it was either 30 or 40 amp hour MPPT controller from Renogy, the Rover. That thing has been awesome. It's been super cool watching. I got two 100-watt panels on the roof, and so it's just a great source of power. And then I also have a battery isolator hooked up to my primary battery, running to my secondary battery. So any excess charge is coming off the alternator to my primary battery trickles back to the secondary battery. But there's it's a smart isolator, so when the van is off, this battery's not able to draw off of the primary battery and drain it. So that's a kind of a neat part of the storage underneath. But the best part of this bench is what's happening behind it. I work in a professional environment. I'm selling to doctors, day in and day out. I have to wear suits, shirts, working for the man, which obviously not ideal, but it pays the bills. And so I needed a place to keep all that. And so what we did is ended up building some closet space behind the bench, which has been really awesome. We've got a place to hang all the professional clothes down here, some spillover storage for like sweaters and some winter gear, extra towels, which these are huge if you're living in a van. I've got two of them, and I've got this one hanging off magnets. I think magnets are also huge living in a van. But these are just quick dry, the micro whatever towels that, they don't require a lot of time to dry. They don't create a lot of stink. You can use them for uses go forever and they won't smell, which is awesome. They soak up water really well. So that's something I'd recommend to everybody. And then this piece here is actually being held in by magnets, 25-pound magnets. So you basically just bring it up and snap it into place, and that's it. And then my pride and joy, I've actually never seen this done before, but I put the bed on a sliding track. It's latched in from the back, so either I'd have to crawl over the bed and do it, which we don't have to do that right now, so I'm not going to. This is where all the fun happens, but essentially, I've got a more permanent solution coming in the mail right now, but for now I clove hitched a piece of rope to a carabiner here that's hooked onto a little loop on the bed that's kind of locking it in place. But we can pop that off, and then what we do is just push this forward, and you've got access to all your gear in the back of the van. It's something that I dreamt up. I was trying to think one night about like, how do I get to the gear in the back without actually going outside? And it was going to be under the bed, so I had to figure out what do I do to move the bed, and basically came up with sliding tracks on ball bearings, pieces that are on some ball bearings, and this thing just shoots up and down. This is a recommendation from our very own Alex. The fan here has been probably the best thing I've ever installed. First of all, it all runs off remote control. It blows air in and out at various speeds. It's got temperature settings, and it also creates like the perfect white noise when it's blowing air out for sleeping at night. It's just this really lovely little hum, and I pass right out because of it, which is awesome. So that fan's been awesome. The other thing that's great about the sleeping area is I'm able to sleep, this way, sideways in the van. Sweet, yeah. So this is the bed area, obviously where I sleep. The bed was built out of 3/4 inch ply, and it's sitting on some aluminum beams that run sideways across the van, and it's inlaid into those beams, so it's kind of secured. The bed itself, the mattress, I couldn't use a conventional mattress because I ended up using, I wanted a slightly smaller than a full-size mattress, and I ended up getting super lucky. I went to Home Depot and they had 3-inch foam that was cut to a little over 6 feet by 12 inches. So I bought, or by 2 feet, 24 inches. So I bought 2 of those, which is the exact size of my bed. So my bed is 73 or 74 inches on the platform by 48 inches wide, which is a standard piece of plywood width. And so it worked out really, really well. And then what I did is I bought a 2-inch memory foam topper to go on top of the stiffer foam that makes it really, really comfy. And you can't even tell it's 2 pieces of foam. I'm 6 foot tall exactly, and I'm able to really sort of easily here lay down in the bed without, I've got plenty of room for my feet and my head. So I had always had an idea to kind of run a light underneath the bed as sort of a reading light. And so what we did is on this piece of wood here, this beam running across, we used a table saw to make a nice cut to inlay LED strip lighting, which was really cool. But then while I was out visiting my buddy who's an architect out in Joshua Tree, my buddy Hunter, he had this really cool idea to use some of this corrugated plastic, this plastic cardboard that he had used on a workshop structure he built out there that glowed really nicely at night from the lights inside of it. And so what we ended up doing is just taking that same LED track lighting and running it around the corrugated plastic. And I ended up putting that right on a dimmer, so you can kind of see at nighttime, you can kind of adjust to whatever you want it to be. If you want a nice soft light, you can turn it all the way down. But if you really want to brighten the place up, you can do that as well. The hardest part?
Yeah.
I think just for me, it's also been the best part, but just dreaming up how everything's going to fit. I spent countless hours just laying awake at night, brainstorming, for the activities that I like to do and the lifestyle that I live. How am I going to put this giant, complicated puzzle piece together to fit all that? And I've spent many sleepless nights just laying there, thinking about sort of this daunting task. But I think that's also the most exciting part, because then you get to see the dream become realized as you're putting it together. That is the $1 million question. A couple guys in my MBA class, one of them works in the casino business, they put a pool together betting on how long I'm gonna make it. But dude, I don't want to put a number on it, but if you were gonna twist my arm, I'd say 1 to 2 years, easy. It's been way easier than I thought it was gonna be. If you like camping, van life is a breeze.
It was kind of a combination of, a half a decade dream with, just some things in my life, kind of shaking things up and kind of pushing me in that direction. So I think ideally what's going to happen is I'm going to be freed up and more mobile to get more time doing the things that I love to do.